Basketball.
Welcome back to Notballtalk. It's your host Dietrich, back at you with another one. Got your co-host Keith. We're back with our guest star. Today we're going to talk about the off-season before the draft, NFL off-season before the draft, and it's going to be the NFC edition. We're talking about all the NFC teams and give them a grade how we think they're doing so far in the off-season. So at first we're going to start off with the NFC East, and we're probably going to start off with the Eagles first. So far, I think the Eagles, they've been doing a decent job. They got a new offensive coordinator in with Kellen Moore. They brought in C.J. Gardner-Johnson back, which is always a good addition to the team. But I think their biggest addition, as the whole world probably would know, is Saquon Barkley and helping their offense in that run game. Any guys got any thoughts about that one?
Bringing in Saquon, that's nice. I think they could really do some. Losing Jason Kelce might be more. It don't sound like nothing now, but it could be something coming into the season. Not having that QB center role, and I don't even know who their center is going to be now. So bringing in a new center and seeing how he's going to do with Jalen Hurts, that's going to be definitely something to look at, especially with the run game. Because Kelce was big on pulling the leader of the line. So looking to see who's going to be the new leader, that definitely going to be something. And then losing a vet as Fletcher Cox on the defensive line, that could also be something, having that veteran aspect. But you still got Brandon Graham, so I can see something. Like, I can see them getting a little bit better, but we just got to see where that can go. I still think they're 1B in the NFC East.
Anything you got to add on that, Keith?
Unfortunately, we had a snake lead my team, but that I feel like that's better. It's better that way. We don't want no ops on our team. You want to go to the other side, that's where he belongs. I ain't going.
But y'all didn't pay him though.
That's not true. That's not true. Go back, look, 2 seasons ago, we offered him 13.5, and he said I could get more. So the whole narrative that we didn't pay him, we did pay him. He just thought he could get more.
He just didn't want it.
Yeah, he always said he wanted to be in New York, but that was false. I think it was a good addition for Philly, though. I think everybody's expecting some CMC type, career type revival arc, and I don't think that's gonna happen. I think he's still gonna be good, but he's not gonna be all pro. I think he'll make Pro Bowl just because they be forcing everybody to get in the Pro Bowl. But I think the real addition was C.J. Gardner-Johnson, because you could tell that back end secondary lost their swag toward the end of the season, and he's somebody that can bring that in there. No matter how low they get or how high they get, he always gonna bring it. And I think that was something that they need. When Bradbury was down low, when Slay was out, they ain't have nobody to have that moxie toward him. And I think them bringing him back on a multi-year deal was very big for him.
Yeah, I think the Eagles so far, I mean, I wouldn't say they nailed free agency, but they didn't lose. Only big piece I think that they lost, in my opinion, was Jason Kelce. They kept Landon Dickerson, so that's also a good thing to keep. They got Kellen Moore in another, in my opinion, who I think is a good offensive coordinator and could very work well with that great offense. Hopefully, he does some good things. But anything is an upgrade from the previous offensive coordinator they had with anything. So I think so far I'll probably give them like a B plus. I mean, they kept their main core and they got a new offensive coordinator, which is an upgrade, and they brought in C.J. Gardner-Johnson back, which is to help that DB room, which is another plus. So I'll probably give it like a B plus. Nothing low, but nothing too high, of course.
Devontae Parker could also be sneaky wide receiver 3.
Could be.
That's foul.
It's a little foul, but I mean, he could be. Sneaky. I mean, you're not asking him to do much, so it could be. He could be something. Oh, and they also got Bryce Huff. How could I forget about that? I think Bryce Huff is a great addition. So I would move that B to a guaranteed B plus, maybe an A minus, like an 89.8. You close enough to an A minus. But
you can email the teacher afterwards and ask us.
Yeah, so I
was gonna say A minus for mine, because I think that Bryce Huff edition was big. I think between now and the draft, after this video, I think they'll probably move off of Hassan Reddick, because it doesn't seem like that. They've been beefing for years on it now. It's about time for them to separate. But I think between getting Josh Sweat back and having Bryce Huff, I think that's a good combination duo. With Fletcher Cox not being on the inside, they got Jordan Davis, and they might have some guys to come behind them, but that's going to hurt at some points in the season.
Yeah. So like we said, what was your grade for the Eagles?
I give them a B.
A B. Okay, so we're around about the same. The next team we're going to go into is the Giants. Going to be a little touchy subject, but I'm going to start off with my grade. I think I would actually I want to give the Giants an A because bringing in Brian Burns is definitely a great addition, but
No but. Cut it there.
nah, but I mean, but like y'all did let go of Saquon, and I think y'all should have focused on other needs. But then again, y'all aren't in a big like win now situation. So I think like y'all are slowly stepping towards the right way, and y'all focus on that defense, which in my opinion, I think is one of y'all strongest points of the team is y'all defense. I think y'all stronger on defense than offense. So adding Brian Burns, and I think what did y'all give up for him? It wasn't a lot, right?
It was a second and a fifth.
A second and a fifth for Brian Burns. Yeah, I signed him to a contract. So I think that's good value for which I gave up and to help that defensive line that y'all already have that's already going on. So I'll probably give y'all I would probably say a minus because Brian Burns is a big addition to building on a defensive line you guys already have. But y'all have a lot more that y'all need to build off of as far as that offense. I think that offense is my main concern. So I would take that A back. B minus.
So we're just looking at what y'all did.
Whoa. How we go from an A to a B minus?
Because like I had to look at what y'all did in free agency. Like I can't just like give y'all.
We targeted the offensive line.
You right. Who y'all getting offensive line? Who they getting offensive line?
John Runyon and I don't know how to pronounce Illumineer is the right tackle that we got from Oakland. Both quality pickups.
Yeah, Jalen Mills, Drew Lock. Okay, yeah, I'm making moves. All right, Devin Singletary. Yeah.
You're
Okay.
trolling.
B minus to a B.
You're trolling. The realistic grade that I give him is a B plus, and not because of losing. And it would have been an A minus or an A, but not because we did. Losing McKinney. Everybody gonna say that's bad, but we got two quality safeties in Dane Belton and Jason Pinnock that paying him what he got with the Packers. It was never gonna happen. So, but with Saquon, he's 28. Our team, realistically, like you said, we're not bowl contenders. So
Yeah.
why allocate all that money to him in that position just for him to run his head into a defensive lineman for another 2-3 years and be out of the league? Makes no sense for nobody. So letting him walk was what was going to make sense for both sides. But we got John Runyon, we got Illumineer who will compete with Evan Neal at right tackle. He's got some real quality. You can go watch the film. He's got some quality reps at right tackle. Evan Neal gonna move in the guard. And the reason that I said I think I'll take us down from the A minus or the A is because we got Brian Burns. I think that really makes the defensive front the best in the East, but not one of the top in the league.
Wait. So you say you saying I have like the best defensive line
Defense. Yeah, what you said, best D line in
I
the East.
agree.
in the NFC East.
Yes,
The New York Giants have the best defensive line in NFC East.
yes. But when you look past our corners, past Deontay Banks, it's a graveyard. It's very depressing. And we wanted Williams that went with the Rams, and we wanted Tre'Davious White, who went with the Rams too. So we lost out on, but we obviously want to target second corner, and we missed out on both the guys that we wanted. So that really is why I'm knocking the grade down. But the Brian Burns one was really big, and like I said, and I'll say it again, that's the best defensive line in the NFC East, and you will see next year.
Where would you rank y'all in the whole NFL?
I'd have to go down and look at like what the other D lines look like. I only know the NFC East by heart, but I'd say top 5 for sure because you're not getting you. We got the best nose tackle, and then we got a top 3 edge duo. How you gonna say that's not one of the best fronts in the league? And then you got Azeez Ojulari coming in as a situational pass rusher. Come on, D. You can't hate on that. I know you want to hate on my team, but that's a good D line.
I'm not hating at all. I'm not hating at all.
I want to say I got to see what the Giants do like in the draft and all that. But for right now, I could give them for what they have and what they're trying to bring in and what they're trying to do. I see they're trying to make a specific position and specific side of the ball elite. Because obviously they're not elite at quarterback. They're not elite on offense. They don't got the big weapons, but they know they have something to do on defense. They know they have something there, something that can help them win games. So it seems like they're trying to bring in more things to help them win games until they figure out that quarterback or that offensive situation. So stacking up on defense right now and getting Brian Burns, like you said, I think it's a top 4, top 3 defensive line in the league. So that can get really scary. So especially with that D line, you only got Deontay Banks, and whoever you put at secondary, they good. Like they good.
Bobby
So
Okereke, two in the middle, man. AD, that defense top five.
so
The Giants defense is top 5?
Something serious over there. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You saying the Giants defense is top 5?
Top 10. Sorry. Comfortable top 10.
The whole defense is top 10 in the NFL.
Yes.
Bray trolling.
Comfortable.
Go
Because
ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
you got
He's
a
trolling.
good
I'll let him go ahead, bro. Go ahead, Becca. We can do that later. Go ahead, Becca.
I give y'all B minus because I feel like y'all could have did more, but y'all don't want to just throw money around. Y'all don't want to like get too crazy because a lot of teams just get too crazy, throw money around. It don't look like it all meshes together. So y'all just want to probably wait to see what you can do in the draft for offense. I think going offensive wise in the draft is smarter anyway. Go get younger, go get more physical playmakers on offense, and you just get proven talent on defense for free agency. So I give y'all B minus. Y'all played it safe. That's what I like.
Yeah, I do think
y'all played it safe.
Yeah, I think I played it right and playing it safe. Like that is a good point you just made, and saying like there's no point in spending crazy money right now if you don't need to. If your team is in a comfortable position to win a Super Bowl, in my opinion, which we all know. I mean, but y'all are taking a big step in the right direction and building on your strongest point. So,
y'all coming for number 3 in the NFC East. Big steps.
Next in the NFC East, and we're gonna go with Washington Commanders. For me to grade them is kind of tough. I probably had them run the same range, maybe around had y'all. Well, now I probably would put a little bit like right under y'all, only because the pieces they got isn't like nothing like huge. Where I think is game changer for the Commanders. Yeah, they got Austin Eckler. Yeah, they got Bobby Wagner. Who else am I missing? Who else they get, y'all?
Jeremy Chin.
Zach Ertz. Who you say?
Jeremy Chin.
Oh, okay, Jeremy Chin. That's a big piece that I would like for them, but I still don't think that's enough for them to move the needle because you lost Cam Curl. So I think he just they lost Montez last year, but yeah, I just think I don't really think they took a big enough step in the right place in my opinion. So the grade I would have to give them really is around like a C-ish, like a C plus ish. I think they took a good step in getting Dan Quinn, just not a good enough big step in my opinion to be like a threat. I mean, he's a good he's a good to decent head coach. So, and I think he's going to bring an identity to that defense. Like I said, I would go C pluses around there.
I think with Washington, I like the Dan Quinn. I think it was the safest coaching option they could have because you bring in a guy who's been a head coach before. He had success in Dallas on defense, so it wasn't like he went somewhere else and had a decline in his career. And in the offseason, they hit all the little things. They got the depth pieces. They signed Zach Ertz to be a role model in a sense. To be that veteran in the room. They're obviously going to draft quarterback at 2, so they're really just prefacing for that. They didn't really, the Bobby Wagner, Jeremy Chin, and Jeremy Chin's actually listed as a linebacker on their depth chart, which is so they're kind of putting him next to Bobby Wagner. So they seem to be cooking up some plan for that linebacker room. That front set, that front 4 is still one big question mark. You got KJ Henry coming off the edge. That really doesn't scare anybody. At corner, you got Emmanuel Forbes, who people caught crying on the field after the AJ Brown nonsense. Like, you got to get that defense together along with that offense. So Washington has a lot to get to. I think I give them a B minus because I do like all the little things that they got, but they didn't get a piece where it made me really move the needle in terms of thinking Washington can drastically get better next year.
For me, I think like you all said, they just did the little things. They just try to get some guards and tackles to help out with their new rookie quarterback. They got Jeremy Chin, so I don't think they did nothing crazy. They got Austin Eckler. I don't think they did nothing crazy to really just move them into like even taking over the East or anything. But I think they're just trying to build something like in house. Like they're trying to just get better slowly. I don't think this type of rebuild, which you get a new quarterback, new head coach. They traded basically everybody good last year, and you just only have certain key pieces, and that's on offense. So I just think that they're trying to start small and just take their pace. I don't think they're looking to come for anybody's throat this year or probably the next. But I think these signing, as long as you're not throwing no crazy money out to people that don't deserve it or that's not going to take you to the bowl. If you're not bowl ready and you're giving money to people that don't deserve it, it's really just only going to hurt you in the long run. So I do like how they are playing it safe. So I will give them a B for that.
And the next team will be the Dallas Cowboys, but they really didn't do a lot this offseason. I think they got Eric Kendricks. That's about it. So I mean, yeah, I think their grade is probably gonna be like a D. Because did they get any? They didn't really get nobody, right?
They signed Eric Kendrick, and I think that made them a worse team.
Yeah, so they really didn't get nobody. I'll probably get them like a D. Yeah, really just like a D. They really didn't do too much, but then again, they really didn't have to do a lot. They just went 12-4 last year.
I would give them a D, not for not getting nobody, but for not re-signing anybody yet as well. We don't know if they're going to re-sign Dak. We don't know what they're doing with them.
Oh, they said they're not getting him back. They think this is last year, right? Well,
he can still get re-signed back next year.
Well, yeah, he can't get re-signed back next year. But according to Jerry, he said like we taking it day by day.
And I think that will ruin that franchise because whatever you try to do to replace Dak, you're only gonna. I don't think they're gonna be better than Dak. And can Dak win a Super Bowl right now? No. But I don't think whoever you get is gonna come in and do better than Dak. And I don't know if they're waiting for Jamar or Jettis to get a contract for CeeDee Lamb, but CeeDee Lamb is gonna cost. Micah's gonna cost. You don't want to pay that. It's the only see them going worse in Cap Hill and getting worse at QB. So I'll give them a D plus. And I don't know what they could do now to even fix it anyway. You don't want to sign Dak, and all your stars are going to cost money regardless. Yeah. So they're really just win the East, I guess.
You agree?
F.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You got work. They were a team like they want to put themselves in the category, with Philly, Detroit's moving there after the season they just had, Green Bay, all these teams who we look at as formidable threats. And I understand, you got either you get the CD Micah thing out of the way and you get that thing and you put your attention onto the future. But as dragging it out and letting it play along and, everybody's futures is uncertain. You're not signing anybody, making the team better. Everybody's just sitting ducks at the moment. Like, you're not getting better. And you see all these other teams, Philly they went to the Super Bowl. They got bounced the first round. And then they picked up Saquon. They picked up CJ again and picked up Bryce Huff. Philly's just attacking. They know what their window is, and they're going at it. If you're saying Dak is your guy and you believe Dak is going to get you to a Super Bowl, you have to prove it. And yes, y'all have fallen short, and everybody clowns you for it. But if you truly in-house believe you can get there, then you need to maximize your resources and get ahead of it rather than letting it all come to you. Like Mecca said, they're letting – I don't know what they can do at this point because you have two superstars that you need to pay. And then you also have a quarterback to where you either pay him and you're stuck with him or you don't pay him. And whatever comes after him is what, Trey Lance or a rookie like. That's only going to drive you down. And Dallas's future, either last year or the year before when they lost to San Fran in hilarious fashion, like it was their year too because they had all their pieces. And where they really messed up was when they prioritized paying Michael Gallup and not paying Amari Cooper a few years back. That's when they really messed up because they thought Michael Gallup could take that next step and Amari Cooper would fall off, but the exact opposite happened. Michael Gallup fell off and Amari Cooper stayed doing great things. So that what's going on with my buddy's a Cowboys fan, and he says they won't do anything until Jerry passes, and I can't even say he's wrong because did y'all see the picture of him at the owners meeting with like the scribble on his
nothing was on a notepad. Yeah,
that's a troll job. Like whatever's happening in Dallas is just a troll job. I can't take him serious.
And losing Dan Quinn as well.
And losing Dan Quinn.
Like they just got worse.
Yeah.
So the next division we're going to do is the NFC North. We're going to start with the Green Bay Packers. Okay, we can start with the Chicago Bears. It don't really matter. Their grade F.
A plus.
F. Realistically, I think the grade I would give the Chicago Bears, I'll probably go like A plus. I would go A. I'll go A. I would give them an A because they attack the things they need on offense to set up their number one draft pick and Caleb Williams. They attack the run game and getting DeAndre Swift and making sure they get a running back there with a leg. They could play all four downs if needed be. They also attack another wide receiver and Keenan Allen to give Caleb Williams another weapon to attack with DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, with a good within a decent enough O line or a better O line than what he had at USC for him to work with. And that's all in free agency. Who else did you guys get?
We re-signed Jalen Johnson, 19 a year, or somebody who was the best cornerback last year.
Oh, you sticking with A plus?
A plus, and let me tell you why. Keenan Allen, we got 2,000-yard receivers now for Caleb Williams. It's ridiculous, I know, right? And we also got DeAndre Swift, which is a 1,000-yard rusher, probably the best rusher we had since prime David Montgomery, which was like 3-4 years ago. And like D told me like an hour ago, David Montgomery, Chicago doesn't mean anything. Anyway, we signed Kevin Byard. I thought we could get a better safety, but like better than Eddie Jackson for cheaper, and we let Eddie Jackson walk. That's too easy. Next, Gerald Everett, tight end 2. I think he could be nice at tight end 2. Seeing what he did with Herb and what he's about to do with Caleb Williams, he's about to have 2 generational quarterbacks to play with. So he's going to give us definitely some talent. And re-signing Jalen Johnson for $19 million a year, your elite post is really too easy for you. And we also got guard at Ryan Bates, somebody that's real reliable at the offensive line position to go with Darnell Wright, to go with Tevin Jenkins. Well, I really don't know what I could say about this. Like, Ryan Post is top 5 GM in the NFL. A plus.
I'll bring this back down a little bit. I'll go with an 8 though. I think they have attacked the jury's out. Everybody knows they're going Caleb. You can start, and they've made all of their plans show that they're going with Caleb. As much as he wants to hide the draft process, getting Keenan Allen, I think pairing him with DJ Moore. People don't mean D. We were talking, if he didn't get hurt, he was probably going to end the season top 5 last year. Like despite being 32.
No, you could say he was going to be top. He was going to be top 3.
He was going to finish top 5.
Receiver was going to be top 3.
Yeah, he was going to be top 3.
Now he's being paired with DJ Moore, who also everybody has him top 15 minimum. And then you could draft a rookie at 9, and that's another wide receiver. Like it could be some real serious things in that Chicago offense. But
it's scary.
You're banking on the back of a rookie. So all the hope and expect, but you're banking on the back of Caleb Williams. And when you do that, as good as he's been in college, you can't guarantee he's going to do that in the NFL. So you're expecting 10 plus wins. I can hear it in your voice. You got playoff or bust. And
I believe Caleb Williams has a better situation in Chicago than he has at USC.
Mm-hmm.
Better wide receiver core, better line, obviously better competition. But I think he's set up more to do better things with also a new and a proven offensive coordinator. Unlike with Justin Fields, when he had a first-time play caller, you're getting somebody that's proven, that knows what offense he's going to run, that had better plays than he had in Seattle to run the offense. You could do anything. You could spread them out. Keenan can go in the slot. DJ Moore can go in the slot. You get a wide receiver at 9. You get a big wide receiver like Rome on the outside, him in the slot. I'm sorry. It's just...
Sky's the limit.
As a Bears fan, this is probably the happiest I've been since 1985.
You wasn't born.
I was about to say, wait, hold on.
So basically, you going Chicago Bears is playoff or bust.
Yes.
They
got to figure it out.
Playoff or bust?
Playoff or bust. Year 3 of Ryan Post. This is year 3 of your rebuild. You're getting a quarterback that if you say this quarterback is better than Justin Fields, it's playoff or bust.
Question of the day. Is Chicago Bears playoffs or bust if they get Caleb Williams? Next team we're going to go to is Detroit Lions. I really didn't see them make a lot of noise in free agency, if I can remember. I know they got rid of... they really didn't do a lot of noise.
Criminal Cam Sutton, currently on the run.
Oh, they got Carlton Davis. They got Marcus Davenport. That's nice.
DJ Reader, sneaky.
They got Bam Knight. So, I mean, they made a couple moves, but they got rid of CJ Gardner-Johnson. I'll probably give them around a B. Around a B because, they didn't do a lot of, a big move to make me, move a whole needle. They already got a great enough roster. They just filled an extra couple holes and, you know what I'm saying, in the cornerback and Carlton Davis. I think they definitely needed one. They got another edge rusher, Marcus Davenport. And they got Emmanuel Mosley. They got a cool... re-signed Emmanuel Mosley, but they got a cool core pieces that just help build depth pieces. So I give them a B already on top of a good roster. So a B free agency in my opinion.
I think so far Detroit Lions probably the best team we talked about, even considering Dallas and Philly. So I don't really think they had to do anything too much. You're getting Carlton Davis the third, another cornerback. You're getting DJ Reader to throw on the D line. So really just pieces, and that's really all they need. I still think they have money and they still have the draft. Like anything they really need as a Detroit fan, you want to come out the draft because you just want somebody young to fill in those key roles that you want to be filled. So I'll give them a B plus. I think they're good.
And they still kept their offensive coordinator. So yeah, I would
And
go
defensive coordinator. They kept both of them.
I would go B plus. My apology. I would go B plus and keeping them free agency. I know that was very hard during the draft. I mean, during the free agency process because their offensive coordinator was one of the highest ranked hires to acquire during his free agency, and he stuck with him. And he won a running back this year, so I would go B plus.
As well as the DC.
Yeah, I think a B plus is what I'd say too, because Ben Johnson keeping him in house was huge. That's basically showing that they understand that this is their time and they're going all in on it. And even though they didn't show that in free agency, and I think the DJ Reader signing was a very big piece because now they got Alan McNeil down there. I think James Houston, Aiden Hutchinson, like they've got a good front paired with some good backers, and that defense has a good core to it. And I think the holes that they have, not necessarily holes, because throughout the roster, I think they're pretty talented. But the spaces that you can fill can be filled with upcoming rookies. So if you draft well, that only makes the great teams. Look at the Chiefs. The Chiefs have stayed good because they drafted well. Trent McDuffie they got in the later past few years. Isaiah Pacheco's been a huge part. He was a 7th round pick. They just draft well. So I think if Detroit can draft well again like they did last year, I think they can continue being what they were. So I'd give them a B right now.
Yeah, so we're on Alliance on B plus. The next team we're going to do is the Green Bay Packers. I think they had a very, 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 very good offseason in attacking Josh Jacobs, Xavier McKinney, I believe. That's who they got, right, from the Giants? Yeah, Xavier McKinney. I believe they are bringing back A.J. Dillon. I don't know. Oh, they're not bringing back A.J. Dillon?
No, they said they are.
Oh, yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they are going to bring him back and put him more into like a full backish type of role, like a more like that role.
Big boy.
They let Aaron Jones walk, but you got Josh Jacobs. So I think they attacked in what they needed to do. Josh Jacobs worse?
I feel like Aaron Jones got a better skill set.
Okay, I'm gonna say that for when you go. He is not better than Josh
I
Jacobs.
don't hate that though. I don't hate that.
Okay, y'all are tripping. Like I was saying, you got a younger, better running back, in my opinion, and you got a safety in what you needed in Xavier McKinney. So I think they attacked the two biggest holes I think they needed, in my opinion. And yeah, I think they already a good enough roster. They seen what they needed out of Jordan Love last year. They got weapons on offense. They got a good defense. Now you just build through the draft. Same thing like the Lions. I just think they're probably like a step behind the Lions. Not that far, probably about like right here. But yeah, I would go A minus. I would go A minus for the Green Bay Packers free agency.
I'd give him an A because I think the Aaron Jones thing, it does hurt, but it's similar to the Saquon thing where it's like with these relationship that teams have with like their career franchise running backs, it gets to a point where it gets toxic, and the running back wants to still be paid and respected, but these teams have to look at it like a business, and then it's a collision of heads, and that's when it all goes south. But they brought it. They replaced him with Josh Jacobs. You can say who's better. I think they might have different skill sets, but they're definitely in the same range. I think with bringing in, I think McKinney's a top 5 safety, and McKinney has always been a player who in the league players might come in and success, but McKinney's sustained that success, has faced adversity, and he still came out on the other side playing extremely elite ball. And I think having him on the back end with Jair back there, they got they got who?
Eric Stokes.
Yeah, Quay Walker and middle linebacker. I'm a big fan of his. I think
Gary.
they've got some pieces on defense, and Jordan Love continuing to get better, taking a step, becoming more consistent this year. I think that team could really be something. So I give him a A.
So you think Josh Jacobs and Aaron Jones in the same tier?
They can do the same thing.
Because you got to look at it like this. Like Josh Jacobs had his one great season, which was like I think 2 years ago now. But Aaron Jones has been consistent throughout his career. He's just been nonstop good. Like Josh Jacobs had hiccups. Was Josh Jacobs good? Like they weren't gonna pay him, and then he had that one season. So it was like, okay, now we have to bring him back. But Aaron Jones he got paid for a reason, and even after getting paid, still was good. So you got to pay some respect to that. He might not be over the top, like he might not be capable of that 1,600-yard season, but he's a better receiving and / running back than Josh Jacobs is. So it's just picking poison.
I think the Packers with Aaron Jones, seeing what Aaron Jones used to do to us year in, year out, 2 times a year is crazy. Just like he can give you 100 yards receiving, he can give you 100 yards rushing any game. He can do whatever he wants. And I think you're just losing that type of aspect when you get Josh Jacobs. I think with Josh Jacobs, downhill, 3 down back, which is cool, But with him and AJ Dillon, like who's going to be that pure receiving back? And I feel like that's something Matt LaFleur has been using since his time in Green Bay. As well, I do like the Xavier McKinney signing. Definitely better than Darnell Savage and what they were doing over there. Josh Jacobs signing wasn't awful. Like you got a younger back, but you're paying him for the next 4 years. And is he going to be producing like that for the next 4 years? With like you said, his consistency since he's been in the league hasn't been that great. He popped 1 or 2 times. So what he's going to do for the next 4 years is really anybody's guess. But I think they could have attacked a little bit more at wide receiver. And I know what they're doing at wide receiver is cool, like, and who they got, like, but I think it's just cool. And I think, like you said, the team is like win now, like a step behind Detroit. Them trading or getting somebody a really good wide receiver in free agency would have put them literally right there. And having a bona fide wide receiver one, having that dominant veteran, just have Josh Jacobs in the RB room, have something like that in the wide receiver room, and that will only make Jordan Love better. That will only make your offense better. But Green Bay not getting better doesn't get me upset. So I will give them a B plus.
I think with that being said, like you said, I want to piggyback on what you said as far as like they should go like attack a wide receiver in the free agency. I think a wide receiver would be a perfect candidate for what they have going on. Would be T Higgins. I kind of think if they could attack T Higgins and pair him up with the Jaden Reed,
I'll give them my first.
You give up a first for T Higgins?
I'll give the Green Bay's first. I'll give them that first. It's like in the 20s anyway.
I mean, the only reason I'd be hesitant to trade for T Higgins is because how much different is T Higgins to Christian Watson? And you already spent a draft pick, and you're. I mean,
it's a big difference. Yeah,
big difference.
Yeah.
You're saying I think Christian Watson is better. Obviously, I know T Higgins is light years above him, but when you spent draft capital into Christian Watson, the prototype receivers that they both are, they're very similar. So if you trade for T Higgins, that essentially pushes Christian Watson out of the offense. You can still use Octavian Wicks, Jaden Reed, and Romeo Dobbs. But when you spent draft capital in Christian Watson, you want him to progress and hopefully be the talent that you think T Higgins is. So that's the only thing I think would make them hesitant to trade for T Higgins.
As much as you want to hope, they win now. If Watson is that wide receiver that T Higgins is right now, in 2 years, we could be missing that window.
Yeah, bad news, Christian Watson. Yeah, if I'm trying to get T Higgins, hit the road, Jack.
Yeah, I would do it because I think T Higgins is that much better than him. But that's why I could see from an organization standpoint why they would be hesitant to do it.
Yeah, so I mean, but I think T Higgins probably be a perfect candidate for them to attack in the free agency season. So the next team we're going to go to, the last team in the NFC North, is going to be the Minnesota Vikings. I don't really think what they didn't really do a lot, right?
They lost Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, they lost Kirk Cousins.
Jonathan Grenard.
They brought in Sam Darnold.
Jonathan Grenard and Blake Cashman were the two semi-splash additions this year.
Who was that first name you said?
Jonathan Grenard, the edge from the Texans. He had 13. He had 13 sacks last year. He's their substitution for losing. He's a younger Daniil Hunter. He won't play as good as Daniil Hunter, but that's their substitution for him. And then they got Blake Cashman to be a better. He had something like 140 tackles last year. He played really well. And
I'll go C+.
If you compare this team to where they were last year and 2 years ago, it's obviously worse. And obviously, you can't stick with Kirk Cousins forever. You got to get that new quarterback. So we really do have to wait to the draft to see if they try to get that new quarterback to really judge them for their offseason. But for now, I'll give them a C.
Actually, I won't even go C+ because they didn't pick up nobody to make me move a needle. So I would go C in my opinion.
I would go D+.
Yeah, they really didn't do anything in free agency.
Yeah.
And they lost people. So they really didn't gain anything. So yeah, you're actually right.
They're really prefacing themselves for Two things. One, having to pay Jefferson, and two, they're trying to figure out. I don't think they have tried to figure out anything else offseason wise other than how can we trade up to three, 4, or 5. That's been their
6
only plan.
or 6.
What's the next team?
Like so,
You
on to
check.
the next.
To 3, but what does that do for them?
No, I
Yeah.
mean,
You draft capital to get JJ McCarthy.
no, 3 you could get Jaden Daniels or Drake May.
Okay. The Patriots not giving that up. They need a quarterback too. Why
Hey,
would they give that up? For who?
they're not in a win now mentality. So if you give up their 2 draft picks in this year,
I feel like they're the same.
Because, like, you got to look at it like Carolina. Like, even if I do get the quarterback, if I'm throwing him into a dumpster fire, he's only going to be dumpster fire. And after 2 years, especially in this league, if he comes in being dumpster fire, no one's going to have the patience to be like, oh, let's see if he can be good in year 3, year 4. So you want to make sure you have your entire infrastructure okay for if you're going to throw a rookie quarterback in there. So
And I would agree with that if they wasn't having like a rookie head coach. And I don't know if they're GM because Belichick was a GM, so they should have a rookie GM. So if these two new cats are trying to keep their job, trying to not win now, but even just looking like you're building something, like bringing in that something that for Patriot fans to be excited about.
yeah,
If we're not excited about nothing and we're not winning games, but we're building offensive line or defensive line 2-3 years and we're still not seeing any results. Because how many times if they're at the 3 next year, I don't know. It really is a tough spot. They could go either way, I can see. But I think they should go.
yeah. So on to the next team, the next division in the NFC South. We're gonna go Falcons first. I like what they did in getting a new head coach in Raheem Morris. The defensive coordinator from the Rams, correctly? So yeah, I like what they did with that. What else did they do in free agency? I don't really think
Darnell Mooney, Kirk Cousins.
Darnell Mooney, Kirk Cousins. Yeah, my fault. Totally forgot about that. And they added Rondell Moore, so they added a couple more weapons on offense to
Traded Desmond Ritter for Rondell Moore. I think that was
that's a
probably
fleece.
their best move of the whole free agency.
I think they definitely did a lot to put more weapons around Kirk Cousins and be a quarterback friendly system. So I would go. I would go
A plus.
A plus.
I don't think what else could they have done to get better. They offensive line is already pretty good. They got probably one of the better head coach signings, especially from a defensive aspect. And that's probably what they want to build. You want to have a defensive minded head coach, especially with an offense like that. Offense is gonna run by itself. So defensive minded head coach with a probably one of the most talented offense on paper.
The only reason I wouldn't give him an A+ is because it's good to fill the needs, but you mentioned it earlier. Overpaying somebody is not good, and I think Kirk is a phenomenal player, and he was on a good streak last year. But paying a guy 4 years, 100+ million when he's coming off of ACL, also being 32 year plus old, like that's just a risk, and it's something you sign up for, and you're banking on him being able to come back. But then if he's not able to come back from that injury, and now you're going all in on all this other stuff, and it backfires, it can make you look real bad real fast.
Yeah,
And I think they overspent on Kirk just a little bit, and because they wanted to secure a good QB because they've been dealing with Desmond Ritter for the last few years. But I think they definitely overpaid just a little bit. And if Kirk gets hurt again, then what?
But if we're looking at the gambles for the free agency class and what they could have done in the draft and what gamble they really wanted to take, I would go with Kirk Cousins. I'd rather gamble the money and giving it to Kirk Cousins than gamble the draft capital and getting a rookie QB, especially for the aspect of what they are and how they could take the division yesterday.
I will go A. I will go A for the Falcons.
I'll go A+.
Hey.
On to the next team of the Carolina Panthers. I don't remember them making too many moves. I know they got Deontay Johnson, got rid of Jeremy Chin, got rid of Brian Burns for a second and a fifth. What else did they do?
They got Robert Lewis, a guard. They paid him like $100 million.
Robert Hunt, 5-year $100 million. Trying to protect.
Just signed Jadeveon Clowney yesterday.
Oh, they got Jadeveon Clowney yesterday. Yeah, I think that was a good addition. So I'll probably
somebody they gave that was on vet minimum 2-year $20 million.
Yeah, I would give them probably like a C+. B-. Deontay Johnson is a good pickup for Bryce Young. I'll give them a B-.
I'll give them a C.
I'll give him a B just because the loss of Brian Burns for a second and a fifth. When you got offered 2 first rounders 2 years ago for him, like that's
We
a
talking about what they
generation.
did last year. That's an F.
Yeah.
If it's
Yeah,
That's
last year
a
was
we
terrible.
talking about what they did last year, that was terrible.
So on to the next team, the New Orleans Saints. I don't think they did a lot. I could be wrong.
They need to do more.
Yeah, I don't think they did a lot. Marcus May
Extended Tyrann Mathieu.
released. You got Cedric
They
Wilson.
extended Unk.
Yeah, I would go D. You got Cedric Wilson. That's probably the best pickup they got. Willie Gay. Yeah, I would go D. I would go D for the Saints. They really didn't do a lot.
I think their defense is nice. They probably needed some more additions on offense to really take them up there. But I really think they're in like a lot of other teams' QB hail to really go anywhere, winning the division at most. But what Atlanta did in that division, they didn't do enough.
Yeah, I'll go D.
So I'll give them a C minus.
C minus is my grade too.
Yeah, it's not a lot to really say about them. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I would go B minus. B minus B. I like the addition of them keeping Baker Mayfield. He proved himself last year. I don't really know what else they got.
Re-signed Mike Evans, 2-year, 41. I like that. Keeping Baker's weapons together. They went to the playoff. They seen something was working, and they're trying to do their best to like build it again and build it just a little bit better. Antoine Winfield franchise tagging him. It really is hard to find a safety's worth in today's league, especially with how the safety market is. So I don't dislike tagging him.
And I think they only got rid of like their two. I think they released one cornerback and they traded the other one, and they brung in another cornerback and they got a safety and they kept most of their main pieces around. So I'll go like a B minus for the Buccaneers. They didn't do nothing too bad, but they did just good enough in keeping their players and bringing good ones in.
My thing is they're not doing enough to get a running back. I feel like they've been an RB hell for the last couple of seasons, and it's very apparent. And especially, with just taking some ease on the offense. You have having those dynamic wide receivers and a good quarterback to air it out. The only thing that would make them better is a good running game. So you could just give the defense something. Just helping your offense more by putting a good running back. There was a lot of good running backs in free agency, and I feel like they could have attacked one.
I might sound like a homer here, but I think they got a pretty nice back right now in Rashad White.
He actually, I think he good.
I think Rashad White's a little solid too. I mean, he could use their backup is nobody, so he could use a nice little complimentary piece. But I'd give them a solid B because I think, like Mecca said, they realize where they are. They're probably not Super Bowl contenders, but their division's very easily winnable. So I think attacking it from that standpoint is kind of what they're doing, and they just want to see success in winning the division. And I think they put themselves in a good place to do that.
On to the next. Oh, what was your grade for him?
B.
Oh, B. Okay, yeah. On to the last division for the NFC. We're gonna go NFC West. We're gonna start off with the Seattle Seahawks. I would go for them. I'll probably go B plus. I think that head coach signing was very big in my opinion. Who else?
One.
Yeah,
Sam Howell trade. That's so sneaky. I love it.
Yeah, I would go B plus. That head coach signing moves me a lot. I love Mike McDonald, and he definitely has a good team that he can run right there. The Sam Howell trade was definitely good in my opinion too for what they got for him. And it saves them because if Sam Howell comes in and shows that like it proves itself, that saves them from having to draft a quarterback. And you also don't have to pay him that much money if he hasn't proved himself yet. So it saves you in cap also. And they have weapons and wide receivers. They have a good running back in K9. So the offense is pretty much good if Sam Howell comes in and does his job. The defense, you got some good pieces around there, and Tariq Woolen, and the D-line also. They could use some more help in the safety room. I believe they got Julian Love, but you could use some more help. They just released Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams, and you could use some help a little bit more in that linebacker room. But with a good head coach like that, and who knows how to run a good defense, I think the Seahawks is taking a good step. So I would give them a B. I would go B plus. That head coach moved me a lot.
Yeah, that head coach moving, I think it was the best sign of free agency, and I think it fits their culture very well. I think he could take them farther. I mean, just as far as Pete Carroll, or maybe even farther down the line. I definitely like to know a fan re-signing. Definitely a sneaky tight end that can get the job done on offense. I like the Sam Howell trade a lot. I think he was very good in Washington. Obviously, with them getting a whole new head coach and a whole new system and a whole new GM with the second overall pick, But I think he's somebody that could definitely sit back and actually learn from somebody. So I really do everything they did. I really do like, and everything that they need. I think they can fill it out through the draft, which is something Seattle's shown that they've done numerous years. So they don't worry me a lot, and I think their division is obviously not for takes with 49ers owning it, but they can't take it this year. But down the line, I think they could build something very good. So I'll give them a B minus.
Yeah, I'd say that a B for Seattle. I think the McDonald hire it moves me a good amount, but it doesn't move me completely. I like the re-sign of Leo because Leo that solidifies. And nobody knows how good Leo is. Of the Giants fans, like he will run stuff, and I think he'll give you situational pass rushing reps where he'll win, and he'll be good for that defensive line. I like that. I think that linebacker room should improve. Losing Bobby Wagner isn't too detrimental. Yeah, his stats say a lot, but a lot of people say that it was very, quotation mark esque. But I think the trading for Sam Howell, Sam Howell had a lot of good plays on film last year, but he also had a lot of knockup plays. He had more knockup plays than the crazy plays. But if you think you can tap in and make the wild plays more consistent, he had some freakish plays last year. People were really pushing some narratives behind him. And if they think they can achieve that with DK and JSN and Tyler Lockett and Noah Fant, then that could really look for as a great value trade. So yeah, Seattle's one I give them a B because they really didn't do anything too crazy to make me be like I think they'll be formidable competitors, but I think in the future they can have a nice succession plan.
On to the next team in the San Francisco 49ers. They really didn't do a lot in free agency, if I can remember also. Yeah, they really didn't do a lot. I mean, you don't need to do a lot. They did release Eric Armstead. Yeah, they released him. But you don't need to do a lot with runner up to the Super Bowl roster. Yeah. I'll probably give him like a C. They ain't really do nothing. I mean, I'll probably actually go like D plus. You ain't do nothing.
They need to figure out what they're going to do with Brandon Ayuk. That's what I think. Having a disgruntled star, and who I think is probably
Top
best
10.
player on the
Go ahead,
offense.
say it.
I think,
Whoa.
he's the
Christian
best,
McCaffrey's on the offense.
second best player on that offense.
Yeah.
I think that's somebody that you need to take care of, definitely. Or even if you're going to trade him and try to get as much as you can for him, I think that's something you should try to do as quickly as possible. But everything else, I really think it's okay. They lost some people, they bring some guys in. Really just Jags at the end of the day. So I'll give them a C.
Yeah, I'll give him a C too. I don't think they did anything crazy, but the reason I couldn't give him a C plus or above is for what you said, Mecca. Like you cannot have disgruntled stars and they've been trying. IU's camp has been trying to get a deal done since the Super Bowl ended. You gotta take care of your homegrown talent. IU was a guy you drafted, you traded up for him, and you got him, and he's been performing. I think he's a top 10 guy, top 5 route runner in the league. Like Ayuk is a phenomenal separator. Don't make a face, D. It's true. You just don't want to accept it yet. But you got to pay him and respect him how he is because if you don't, somebody else will. And you don't want to let your star power go somewhere else, especially when people are saying your quarterback relies on that star talent. You have to get him taken care of.
Especially if you're taking a Brock Purdy route when just having a system quarterback, you
Yeah,
got to keep the system around him.
for sure. And the last two teams is going to be the Los Angeles Rams. I think they've been doing pretty good in free agency. I'll give them new head coach. No, same head coach. My fault. Lost to DC. My bad. Same head coach. My bad, Sean McVay. They got a couple pieces on defense, I believe. I don't really know who they got.
Cam Kerr, Darius Williams, they got him back.
Tre'Davious White.
Tre'Davious White. I think they improved on defense.
They improved.
Obviously, losing Aaron Donald is the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Hardest loss any team in the NFL did. This generation.
I'll go B.
I'll give them a B plus. Obviously you can't make Aaron Donald play. He also see where the team is going. It is the biggest loss any team got, I would say, this decade. But I feel like since you lost that pure pass rush talent, reinforcing the secondary is obviously the second best thing to do with getting Tre'Davious White. getting Darius Williams, getting Cam Curl. So they're trying to reestablish something on that defense, which I still believe in. Matthew Stafford, I believe he's top 10. I still believe in him. Still believe in him. They're both of their wide receivers, Puka and what's the other cat's name?
Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp. I believe in them as well. So I think they're pretty good. And they also have the RB, and I think they have a top 2 head coach in Sean McVay that always makes any situation work.
So what's the grade? Oh, you say B plus, right?
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah, I lean toward a B plus too. I think, the team that truly would be perfect for T. Higgins would be this one, because I think with Puka, you got, Cooper Cup's on the tail end of his career, and you could see it last year when they tried to make Puka the number one guy, and it worked, but Puka was more pushed into that number one guy role, and Cooper Cup started to fall off. And that's Cooper Cup still, the talent he had, Cooper Cup's still there. He just has to stay healthy. But if you can get a young up and coming, a young star in T. Higgins who's going to play outside, Matthew Stafford throws a perfect fade ball. You play with Calvin Johnson. He can get it. He can get up there for the receiver to high point it. And then you've got Puka and Cooper to worry about. I think if they really want to still make a push, they've been signing Tre'Davious White. They got Williams back. So obviously defensively, outside of Aaron Donald, they're trying to show that they're still serious. But on offense, relying on Cooper Kupp to still continue what he's doing, and Puka's going to continue to get better. That was no accident. Puka's good for a reason. But outside of Puka, that Tyler Higbee's your next option. I mean, you got Kyron Williams at the running back, but you don't always want to rely on your running back to still do it. You want to have your outside options. And for Matthew Stafford, a guy who can really get the ball from point A to point B, one of the best in the league, I think maximizing the amount of weapons you can have for him, they could be formidable people if they get T.
And the last team for the NFC that we had to talk about is the Arizona Cardinals. I don't remember them doing a bunch either in free agency. Again, I could be wrong, but I know they got Desmond Ridder. They got rid of Rondell Moore. So I'll probably go. Who else did they get?
Sean Murphy, Burton, Mac Wilson.
I'll probably go C minus. I mean, it's not like Arizona could do right now. So I'll go C minus for the free agency.
I really believe they're trying to build whatever they can through the draft. Honestly, I think they can get that bona fide wide receiver, and they could fix up everything, all the little nicks and knacks with the rookies. I also do believe, they have Kyler Murray, and they could. I still think they're like third in the division. I don't think they can go anywhere too far. So I don't think throwing any money anywhere too crazy will really help them right now or in the long run. So what they're doing right now, I think it's pretty okay. Getting rid of Rondell Moore for Desmond Ridder, I really do just hate it. I don't know why they did it. I don't know what was said in the meetings or what film they pulled up to convince GM to do this. But I really do hate that. So I think they can get Marvin Harrison Jr. in the draft. I think him and Kyler Murray can play ball while the GM is still building different things through the draft and next year in free agency. Obviously, they're not going to win the division now, but they could build something for the future. So I'll give them a C plus.
I'll give him a B minus. I kind of like the Mac Wilson addition in the linebacker room. Sean Murphy, I think he doesn't complete that cornerback room. I still think they need more pieces there, but I like that addition. And I think they're really bracing for getting Kyler as a weapon. And, the Desmond Ridder trade was more so like Rondell Moore doesn't have a fit on that offense because, Greg Dortch, I personally think, is better than him. And then you got their other receiver. His name is blanking. Michael Wilson. And, when you have, you're bringing in either Marvin Harrison or, Malik Neighbors would be the other name that you mentioned there. You really don't have a spot for Rondell. And, Kyler already is coming off a torn ACL. You'd rather have a backup that you can rely on than a fourth-string receiver who probably won't touch the field. And it's just more so a value thing. But I think Arizona's they understand their positioning in the division. They're, like Mecca said, they're not going up there and competing with San Fran or Seattle or any of them. But I still think they could be somewhat good throughout the league if they if they draft well and they fill out some missing pieces that they got.
That's all we got for you guys today for Not Ball Talk. Do want to give one shout out to the clothing brand I got on today, Under the Grid. Make sure you guys go cop the merch, Under the Grid Clothing on Instagram. That's all we got for you. We're going to see you guys on the next episode. Peace.
He passed me the ball. He never passed me the ball.